Hi, this is Stephen Vincent with the Freedom Message for October 15th, 2007. The theme for today is The Next Stage. This Saturday past may have been a very important day in the history of the Ron Paul Revolution. In fact, it may have been a historic day in the history of the United States. In over 65 cities, people walked in support of the Ron Paul Revolution and in support of Ron Paul and his freedom message. In many of the cities, the numbers exceeded 200 or 300 people. The candidate himself appeared in New York City. Emerging from a private function, he surged onto the street and was surrounded, mobbed by supporters. And as he left the scene, he crossed the street into Grand Central Station, one of our country's landmarks. The crowd followed behind him and streamed into Grand Central Station, occupying it, taking it over, the candidate surging up the stairs and onto the balcony overlooking the Grand Central Concourse, delivering a short but very important speech in which he declared that there is a revolution happening in America today. Very, very, very interesting and significant. So, are we in fact witnessing a revolution of sorts in the United States today? I had someone recently compare what's happening in the United States today to the fall of the Berlin Wall, and that hadn't occurred to me, but it seems to me that it's possible that that analogy is applicable. A very sudden shift in the mood of the people, a very sudden awakening and emergence of the people into political life, sweeping away the old order in a very short period of time in a relatively peaceful way. Perhaps that is an analogy that is applicable to what we are seeing today. I think that it's time to take it to the next stage. And what would the next stage be? Well, if you've listened to people in the Ron Paul movement, and if you've got your finger on the pulse, you'll notice that many people are now starting to speak about the need to get into grassroots organizing on a precinct level, on a block-by-block level, on a congressional district level. That we need to start hitting the streets, knocking on doors, and identifying the voters that we are going to turn out at the election place on primary and caucus day. And that day is fast approaching. So we need to get on the ball right now. So far, our efforts have been primarily of a raise awareness and sort of get the word out type of activity, and they've been unbelievably successful. I don't think there's any way to really put a number on the publicity value generated by the activity of Ron Paul supporters by hanging banners and signs and distributing literature and having walks and all the other kinds of activities, sign wavings that Ron Paul supporters have been so creative in developing and putting on in these last months. I think the number may be in the hundreds of millions of dollars of worth of publicity, and it has had a definite effect. We have affected the consciousness of the people, and we have started to penetrate the major media to where they are forced and obliged to acknowledge what we are accomplishing. So it's very significant. Don't for a minute think that the work that we are doing hasn't amounted to anything, because it has. However, it is now time to go to the next stage.